Want to watch this episode? Check it out on my YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/@lanternslive. Welcome to Lanterns Live, the only live stream YouTube channel dedicated solely to the world of Green Lantern. I'm Ralph, and today we're talking about a backpack. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. We're going to be talking about a backpack, and I want to let me get to a shot of this backpack because I want to know what's in the bag. What do you guys say? Let's look into some backpacks. Here we go. There's the backpack coming up. There it is. This backpack. So, if anybody in the chat right now has any sort of theories, what's in the backpack, bring them up now, because I have a doozy of a theory that I want to talk about. When we saw a preview image of Aaron Pierre as John Stewart holding this backpack, I assumed in the first teaser that this backpack was going to hold a power battery, right? And I was really excited about that. Then last week we got a photo from the set where Aaron Pierre was holding this backpack and the power battery. If he's got the power battery out in the open, what's in that backpack? Because if you look at this shot, there's something in there. It's not like, look at his hand and how the handle is stretched. There's something in this backpack, right? 100%. Brendan says, well, wait. Oh, this one. Chip's in there. Could be Chip. I don't think it is. Oh, look at John doesn't have shoes on. I just noticed that. So for the longest time, since February 2025, there was an article released by Jeff Jensen over on Vanity Fair that talked about lanterns. And in that article, he mentioned that there's an ancient horror that's buried in Rushville, in the city of Nebraska. Ripner says maybe it's his costume or civilian clothes. Maybe his effects. Could be. But here's what's interesting. Later on in this trailer, look at all these people want this backpack. There's also a shot with John running. Did we get that in this part? Let me see. Oh, that suit. There's a shot of John running in California, and someone is chasing him, and I guess he has like is that the same backpack? That's a different backpack. I just realized that's a completely different backpack. But anyway, people, this might be his clothes and battery. It also looks like he's trying to catch something, like right there. Boop. Let me catch this thing. But here's why I don't think it's his clothes. This is definitely another planet, right? We're all in agreement. This is a different planet. You could see a moon or a planet here, and a second moon or planet here, which means it's not Earth. This is definitely not Earth, right? He's got the backpack. Something's in the backpack. They even do a close-up of the backpack, I think. Where's that? Here we go. This backpack's important. Everybody in Rushville is after this backpack and after John Stewart, and they want that backpack. And Hal, who's still alive, and John are on a different planet with the backpack, which means whatever this backpack is, they want to get it far away from Rushville and possibly bury it on a deserted planet. I had a theory when I first saw this trailer that this was Quard. which is the sort of birthplace of the Yellow Lantern Ring. It's where Sinestro was banished to. It's like an alternate dimension kind of place. But if it is, what's in the backpack? Why are they taking it to another planet? What is this ancient horror? So I have a theory. That this, at the beginning, is not Red Lanterns. Right? The ancient horror that was buried in Rushville has basically been freed. And this does not look like Red Lanterns to me. The laser beams are too precise. The laser beams are really focused. And they're really big. To me, that doesn't say Red Lanterns. To me, I think the ancient horror that's buried in Rushville are manhunters. I think we're dealing with manhunters. And I think the fact that they're calling this thing an ancient horror is because the lanterns have been around for like a millennia or something. I'm not exactly sure how long the Green Lantern Corps has been around, but we do know that the Guardians created the Manhunters as a predecessor to the Green Lanterns. And I think there may have been either a Manhunter or Manhunters on Earth at one point. Right? Now, there's Paul Van Victor, who his character description sounds like Atrocitus. Basically, he's out there to sort of get revenge on what the Guardians did to him. And as we know, Atrocitus' planet, not Yzmal, is it Yzmal? Sector 666, if I'm not mistaken, got destroyed. Atrocitus' planet got destroyed by Manhunters. And Atrocitus has this, like, revenge kick against the Guardians. So I don't know if Paul Van Victor is actually Atrocitus, but could be some sort of shapeshifter or some sort of entity or alien, because his character is described as an alien seeking revenge on the Guardians. Could be working for Atrocitus if he's not Atrocitus. Comic Jack says, this backpack is going to be a plot device? 100%. And this is what I think. I think this is how protecting people from a Manhunter attack. I think, this is all pure speculation, what's in the backpack, this ancient horror, is ahead of a Manhunter. And John's just trying to get it out of there. What do you guys think? Hey, break. So I've looked at the freeways. They're definitely in California. It looks like it's around the 710, 110. Yeah. I think it's around where the 105 meets the 110, possibly the 710 and the 5. I brought it up on a earlier episode. You can't make out the signs, but they're blurred, but they're definitely California signs, which means we're probably going to get more stuff in Coast City. Because John, when he's hitting the bags, it clearly reads right here. Coast City. It's a gym in Coast City. So we do get some California stuff. What's up, dude? Glad you made it. If they make Hal into Parallax in this first season, I'd really hate it. The gray in the hair worries me. I've been saying this. If they do Hal Parallax first season and he goes bad, I'm hoping for season 2 to have a Hal do a rebirth and have a younger actor play Hal in his prime. So I'm keeping an open mind. You know what's funny? I just read a Green Lantern issue yesterday. I think it was Green Lantern 148, the one that started in the 90s. And they talked about John and his brother Damon, but he has a younger sister named Rose. So I don't know if they're keeping that part of this canon, but I did finally read an issue about John. That had his family in it. So it's good to see them. Yeah, the whole Parallax thing, it does make me concerned, but when I first started reading Green Lantern back in the 90s, Hal turned to Parallax fairly early on for me. And even though Parallax feels like an ending for Hal, we've had like 30 years of Hal Jordan stories since. Like, basically. I mean, Kyle was in there for a few years, for like a decade. So like at least the last 20 years since Rebirth, which was 2005, we've had plenty of Hal stories, no white streaks. So for me, if Hal becomes Parallax this season, I feel like that would be the end of Kyle Chandler, but not the end of Hal Jordan. So listen, we know how comic books work and we know how characters work. If they can recast Hal to be the same age as Aaron Pierre, and we get Aaron Pierre, who in this series will have been a Green Lantern for 10 years because the timeline in Rushville is 2016 and whatever this other mystery is 2026. So we'll have a seasoned John Stewart as a Green Lantern, and I would love to see a rebirth of Hal roughly coming in around the same age and being just as seasoned. And they could be friends. You know? Even the book, I need to look at this book. I might do a review of this book that I read last night. I think it was Green Lantern 147 or 148. But there's so much stuff where John's in a wheelchair and he's sort of having a mental breakdown and he's recounting his life, and Hal Jordan as Parallax in his vision comes and talks to John and talks about how their relationship from the start was very contentious and how they grew into becoming brothers, basically. So this show is doing exactly that. I read this issue and I might, maybe like on Monday or something, I'll just cover this random issue that I read and just see how it pertains to Lanterns, because I feel like a lot of that stuff was there. I wonder if this would be Hal's first encounter with the Manhunters, despite him being around for so long, or we'd see Manhunters in flashbacks. The thing I like about Manhunters is that they are basically the sins of the Guardians. They're the big mistake. So when you watch like Star Wars, the prequels, the Jedi becoming arrogant and not being able to see Palpatine's rise, like that's their big mistake. So by the time you get to the original trilogy, you just hear like vague rumblings of their big mistake. I think the Manhunters by this point would be complete myth. Maybe there's some people out there talking about it. Green Lanterns would know about it, but I think it would be really interesting to show how confronting one of these for the first time. I think the Manhunters are a great way to set up that the Guardians aren't perfect. The Guardians make mistakes. I think Manhunters, I love seeing them on Earth. I want to say in Green Lantern, the animated series, the second half of the season, episode 1 with Guy Gardner, where the Manhunters are on Earth, is some of my favorite stuff. It's a plot device. The Manhunters are a plot device to show what would happen if the Green Lanterns failed and became evil. But I do like that it shows that the Guardians are fallible and they're arrogant and sort of out of touch. So I can see the Manhunters being a really, really good threat on Earth. What that has to do with William Macon and his farm, I don't know. I want to see the stuff on the farm here. Because clearly this town, if it is a Manhunter head, we don't know what is in this town. Right? But there's an ancient horror. They keep saying there's an ancient horror in this town. And I believe that the ancient horror is somewhere on this farm. And maybe it's a secret object that this character, William Macon, has and is protecting. He's surrounded by bodyguards with guns and armor, body armor. And the Lanterns have to get on there somehow to get this ancient horror. Now, how they got this thing, don't know. It could be something that crash landed on Earth 2 million years ago. I know Damon Lindelof likes to do stories about Earth and how it was formed. If we may have been visited by people or aliens before the formation of man. I know that's a theme he likes. I'm curious to know how these people found it. Did they find it? I don't think Nebraska is known for like oil, so I don't know if these guys would be digging for something and then found this ancient horror. But I feel like whatever it is, it's on this farm. These guys know they have it, and they'll do anything to keep people away from it. The reason why there's 2 Green Lanterns going to investigate a shooting in a small town in Nebraska has never made sense. Unless the shooting was someone that Hal knows or someone that's really important. And I'm curious to find out who got shot and why were they in this town. They must have been there for this ancient horror. So it's really tough, man. Let's go back here. I like your Manhunter head theory, though it feels a lot to explain to an audience about who they are, who they work for, and why they're attacking. But fun, given the current questions. Yeah. Does it take the thunder away from eventual Brainiac story, though? The Manhunters? I don't think so. The Manhunters have always been that sort of alien element that was kind of easy to set up. They showed up in Green Lantern, the animated series, fairly early on. They showed up in Jeff Johns' run in one of his first books, following Rebirth. The Manhunters are in here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Look at this. This is like Jeff Johns' like second issue after Rebirth. And basically it's the military was carrying this Manhunter in a truck into a military base, and then it woke up. So I think for Jeff Johns, if a Manhunter is great for an early plot point for his books, I think it could work for this show. Comic Jack, I want to see Danny DeVito as Ganthet. I think Laura Linney might be a Guardian. Who brought that up on my show recently? I think that's a good call. I think she's a projection. Ganthet did that during Hard Traveling Heroes, altered his look to look more human when he traveled with Ollie and Hal. So I think Laura Linney might be a Guardian in sort of a human form. Could the Ancient Horror be something non-GL centric from the DC universe to tie into something from another movie? I don't think so. I'd prefer to stick to being GL. Yeah. Because right now with the DCU, I mean, Peacemaker season 1 was pre-DCU, but they sort of retconned some stuff to where they added the Justice Gang instead of the Justice League and stuff like that. They had a threat from outer space, the butterflies. We're only one movie in, and by the time Lanterns comes out, we'll be 2 movies in. And so we'll have plenty of space stuff to for James Gunn to sort of flesh out what he wants to do with Brainiac. For me, with this show was in development before James Gunn came on. He saw what they were doing. He liked it and folded it into the DCU. There will be elements of this that tie in with Salvation, which was part of Peacemaker season 2. But I could see him sticking with Manhunters for this. How am I just finding out Lindelof is doing this? I don't know. He's not doing season 2, but he did do season 1. You gotta jump on here every week, man. Hit that bell notification so you can find out everything you know about Lanterns. Damon Lindelof was rumored to be in Lanterns the day after I had an interview with him for my Lost documentary. Yeah, so there was an episode called Babel in which the Green Lanterns or Kilowog, Hal, and Red Lantern Razor are on a planet, and the Interceptor is down, and they can't get power to their rings. So they lose their ring power, and they can't talk to each other because the translator, the universal translator, and their rings don't work anymore. They fight a giant kaiju in an arena after they get caught and are imprisoned. And as they're fighting this giant kaiju who's wearing like a bandolier with skulls on it, they're like trophies, Hal notices that there is a Manhunter head on that bandolier. And the Manhunters run on the same power as the Green Lantern power battery. It's a green energy in the lanterns. So Hal Jordan runs, grabs the Manhunter head, and as he's falling, he recharges his ring using the Manhunter head, which is something that Jeff Johns has, I think, in that issue that I was just looking at. So it's a thing. Manhunters are a great way. If you played the video games that came out in 2011 after the movie, it was called Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters. again, it's an easy way to like kind of have a villain that can be sort of a social commentary on the shittiness of the Guardians and the mistakes they make, and which might be fun, because Hal thinks that the Guardians making John a Green Lantern a mistake. So yeah, we could talk about the mistakes of the Guardians like all day long. That's what's great about this show is we're going to get 8 hours. We're going to get 8 hours of Green Lantern story here instead of just a movie. So they can really dive deep into this stuff and get into the lore. Anti-Monitor connections? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love to see the Anti-Monitor. When she said, go get it, John Stewart, I thought that was something a Guardian would say. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I like that a lot. If she's a Guardian, that's great casting. Yeah, this show's been in development for a while. This iteration of it, I think, was going on just before James Gunn came on board. But like the Mark Guggenheim, Greg Berlanti show was going since like 2017 and sort of evolved into this. I'm just glad that we're getting a show. I thought it would never happen. Scott says trailer looks great, by the way. Can't wait for the show. Me too. Obviously. And I'll be covering the show after every episode airs. So hit the bell icon, or just as soon as it airs, I'll be on here live an hour after. Yeah, it's so cool. Everything about Green Lantern's cool. All right. So I've said my piece. My theory, or my sort of, this is my bid to like get clicks when the show pops up. And if it's actually Manhunters, people can say Lanterns Live called it on May 20th at 4:58 Pacific time. There's Gumby letting you guys know what time it is. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Anybody watching this after the live stream, put your theories in the comments below on what you think is in that backpack that's so important that they have to take it off planet to get rid of. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you guys in a week, if not sooner. I'll be discussing Green Lantern 34? Whatever the next Green Lantern issue, Will's going to be joining me for that on Wednesday at the same time. And I just want to say, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a blast. And I can't wait to see what goes on with this show. Because it's going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait to talk about it as we get closer to it and when it starts airing. So stick around, subscribe, hit the bell icon, join me for live streams. And until next time, beware my podcast. It's Lanterns Live. Bye.